Hi everybody, it is time for another worldwide march against Bayer-Monsanto. I thought I'd just get a little shot of my signs and my bumper stickers and zines ahead of time because I have a hard time getting these signs when I'm actually marching. It is May 18th, 2019, and I'm just about to take to the streets in my tiny town to stop Bayer-Monsanto. So I first have my sign, Stop Bayer-Monsanto here, and then around to the edge of the sign I have some of the toxic and deadly products that these two companies have put out, and that is Liberty Link, which is Bayer's GMO division, which it sold off in order to purchase Monsanto in order to get around the anti-monopoly laws. Roundup Ready and glyphosate, which of course are cancerous, hormone disrupting, organ damaging GMOs and chemical herbicide. Bayer is currently in the midst of 13,000 lawsuits against Monsanto for damages caused by Roundup exposure. There have been 3 massive settlements in the high, tens of millions, and the last one was $2 billion. Which was awarded to a couple that both got non-Hodgkin's lymphoma from Roundup exposure. The 2 previous cases, Hardiman and Johnson, were also related to non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is a form of cancer that has been linked to Roundup use. So, surprise, surprise. And Monsanto has been sort of shown to have been lying in the weeds, which all these corporations do. Bayer does it as well. They all do it, about the toxicity and danger of their products. Because if they were honest about the toxicity and danger of their products, if they limited the sale of their products, that wouldn't make them billionaires, would it? So they push for market dominance. They push for mass popularity. You can buy Roundup at any hardware store. You can, kids could buy a thing of Roundup if they wanted to. Anyone can buy Roundup. It's everywhere. So DDT, that was another chemical produced by Monsanto. PCBs, dioxin, Agent Orange, which has killed and killed thousands, probably tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of people, has caused long-term birth defects in the Vietnam War veterans and the children of the Vietnamese people to this day. Okay, people? So Agent Orange is still producing horrific effects, from use in the 70s to this day. Saccharin, aspartame, bovine growth hormones, neonicotinoids, and neonicotinoids are another form of pesticides which are killing our bee population. Zyklon B, that's what Bayer produced as IG Farben, one of the gases in the gas chambers. Chlorine gas, which was used in World War I. Genetic mutations, that's what they cause. Gene editing, CRISPR gene editing, and that is a new form of genetic modification that they've created, which eliminates certain genes in a seed, which then causes genetic mutations and possibly all kinds of nasty things for us. GMOs, Cipro, Avelox, Yasmin, Xarelto, Esher, and Trasolol. Those are all pharmaceuticals, or Esher are birth control coils put out by Bayer that have killed cumulatively in the hundreds of thousands of people, that have long-term debilitated and caused severe health damage in millions of people. And they have done this knowingly. Just for example, Cipro, the antibiotic that poisoned me, has been on the market for 30 years. So for 30 years, they've known that these drugs were causing death, were causing severe injury, disability, chronic pain, all kinds of horrible things. And they left them on the market because that's what makes them their money. Now I have Stop GM Alfalfa. I have, of course, been doing a Stop GM Alfalfa campaign since 2011, working intensively on this issue. GM alfalfa is a feral perennial. It's a livestock feed, a common livestock feed. It's just growing wild, right? So basically what's happening is the natural alfalfa crop is being contaminated by genetically modified alfalfa. And we've already seen multiple instances of unwanted contamination happening. So, this is a huge threat to our natural alfalfa crop. Alfalfa is a foundational crop used in the organic agriculture system. So contamination of the alfalfa crop would be miserably bad. And this is what's going on. So here I have my Stop Genetically Modified Alfalfa zine. And I also have, just flip through that baby a little bit. Yep, all kinds of potent information in there. And then we have Stop GM Alfalfa, Say No to Frankenhay, and Stop GM Alfalfa in Canada, Say No to Frankenhay. Anyway, last year I did a One Woman March against Bayer-Monsanto, and maybe I'll turn this camera around on myself. And I actually had nothing but good response last year. I had lots of people honking their horns and waving and yelling, support out the window. Some guy yelled out, "Monsanto sucks." Yes, it does. So I had a lot of people asking me, what this was all about. Some people were asking me what Monsanto was. So last year it was a really good energy type of thing. This year, I don't know. This year has a little bit of a different tenor. This year I decided to branch out and see if there was anyone in my town who wanted to join me in this march. And I got instant kind of flack and hostile reaction and a lot of critics, a lot of people who were pro-GMO or who were sort of trying to poo-poo my claims that GMOs and the chemical herbicides and pesticides are dangerous for people. So this is a secondary issue. I mean, the pharmaceuticals alone that Bayer has killed people with is enough for us to do this march purely for Bayer. So whatever. But yeah, so I got a pretty hostile reaction immediately. I got a few people who were interested in marching with me though, and I'm not sure whether it's a long weekend, so a lot of people go away on long weekends. It's a little bit cloudy and kind of threatening to rain, so I'm not sure whether I'm gonna get any people, but I'm basically meeting at a park here, and we'll just see what happens from here. I'm gonna do this regardless of whether, for me, it's not about the response. It's not about raw popularity. None of the work that I do is, that should be pretty obvious by now. I do this because it needs to be done. And because if I don't do it, no one else will, right? That's literally how it is. And I just wanna encourage people because in many cases, that's the situation. If you don't do it, if you don't pick this up and run with it or work with it or do something with it, no one else is going to. So if you want to see this, this kind of corporate criminality, this pain, this misery that they're bringing down on people, if you want to see that continue, just keep on ignoring it, right? Just keep on ignoring what's going on. Keep on attacking people like me who are actually speaking out about it and who are actually trying to spread the word and trying to educate people about this. Because ultimately that's what it is. It's a public education campaign, because you're never going to get this kind of education from the standardized media, from the standardized science, from standardized government, from standardized education system. You're just not going to get this information from that. So anyway, with that said, I'm just about to head out and I will take some shots of whatever happens. I'm well aware that this might be another one-woman march against Bayer-Monsanto, and I'm perfectly fine with that. But I'm also happy to have other people involved as well. And here we have Val, who is making her Save the Bees, ban Bayer-Monsanto sign. Yay! I have a compatriot to do this march with today, so that's pretty fantastic. Yay, Val! We're at the farmers market here, and we just got a lot of nice support from the people here. One gentleman was talking about how he doesn't believe that we can produce enough food without chemical farming. I'm not 100% against all chemicals. What I'm opposed to is the particular chemicals and also the level of exposure that we have. I'll just put that on the record. But yeah, lots of cool support. This is the farmers market in my town. We've had actually a lot of good conversations with people about what we're doing here, and hopefully it continues. Yeah. We just got our first honk. Woohoo! We are walking along the main drag here in my town. Hey Val! And we're showing off our signs to the people that are walking by, or the people that are driving by. And so far this march has been very good, very nice. Lots of supportive people, warm reception. The people who oppose what we're doing have stayed, mostly silent, which is nice. I don't mind if you guys want to do a counter protest that's pro-GMOs and pro-chemical herbicides and pesticides and pro-pharmaceuticals that are killing people. You can do that, but don't expect me to join in. Yahoo! There we go, baby! Hi everybody, it's Willow here with my Stop Bayer-Monsanto march. My fellow marchers have decided to, we ended the official march and I decided to just walk through my town's park, which is the way that I ended off the march last year as well. I ended it off at the community garden, which I'm planning to do again. Anyway, it was a really nice march this year. It was a little bit shorter march than I did last year. Last year I just did the one woman march against Bayer-Monsanto, and I got a lot of support for it actually. I got a lot of honks, a lot of excited people waving at me, yelling support out their windows and that kind of thing. This year, like I said, I kind of put some feelers out through the community garden and also through an open mic that I was involved in, and I got another interested lady, and she came with her Save the Bees, ban Bayer-Monsanto sign, and a friend of hers as well. So we walked through the downtown area of my town. We went down to the farmer's market and we kind of hit pay dirt, as you might imagine, right? We hit pay dirt with some supporters of ours, people who were thanking us and supporting us for doing this. We had a lot of good conversations about what was going on. We then went up the main drag of this town and we got, a fair number of honks, like some people, like I said, yelling some support out the windows, which felt really good because, as I said before, I'm not doing this for the response. I'm just doing this because I think it's something that needs to be done in this area. And it's just really nice to see that there are some people who are aware of what Bayer-Monsanto are and what they're doing to the world and that kind of thing. I am a little bit concerned that we're sticking to certain easily digestible issues. People are not aware of the pharmaceuticals angle with Bayer, and when you bring that up, it makes people a little bit nervous, I've noticed, which of course is one of my primary reasons for marching against Bayer-Monsanto, as I was poisoned by one of Bayer's antibiotics that has killed tens of thousands of people and has permanently disabled and debilitated, probably 1 million or more people. So there are the kind of issues, the Save the Bees issues, like Val said, like my fellow marcher said, was something that's kind of palatable. It's something that a lot of people know about. Nobody would be, for killing off the bees. But when you start to talk a little bit more about some of the other issues, that's when you run into a little bit more friction. There hasn't been as much mainstream media coverage of those issues. There hasn't been as much public education, out there about them. So, there's still a lot of work to be done, absolutely, but I was able to tell people about the 13,000 lawsuits that are coming against Bayer related to Roundup damages, which were of course incurred by Monsanto, which Bayer swallowed up in a merger last year. I was also able to tell them about the 30,000 Essure birth control coil lawsuits, and there was actually a man who was telling me that these horrible coils have been out there since he was young. And he was maybe, I don't know, late 60s or maybe 70 years old. And he told me a very nasty story about how they would actually poke the male part of the couple when, you know, when engaging in relations. And that's, you know, mind-boggling. So there have been problems with these coils for probably, you know, 40 years now. And just now, you know, Bayer's finally getting nailed on this issue. So anyway, it was another successful march. I like to take part in this just because, you know, this is going on all over the world, and I think it's a really healing and wonderful thing to, you know, publicly see people opposing this and publicly see people who are educated on this issue and who are working to stop these corporations from hurting and killing us the way that they're hurting and killing us. So anyway, overall I'm very happy with the way things went. I was very nervous about going from a one-woman march against Bayer-Monsanto to opening it up to other people, because I'm used to a lot of flack and a lot of opposition and a lot of anger and that kind of thing. And so I was kind of steeling myself for that. I was almost wishing that it would get rained out. I was that nervous about potentially opening myself up to other people. But you know, it's one of those things that you try it, and in this case, I think that it went well. And yeah, I just hope that this has kind of, you know, planted some good seeds. And on my march against Bayer-Monsanto, I have come across Rick and Willie in this adorable little setup. Willie is the little dude back here, part Jack Russell, part Dachshund, and he rides in this little car. And Rick was saying that he rode on the back of his Harley for how many years was that?
14 and a half years.
14 and a half years. So this guy's used to, you know, he's used to being driven around, chauffeured around by Rick.
Oh, and yeah, we've never been apart.
Well, I'm glad I came across you dynamic duo today. And I'm just gonna take a little close-up of your adorable little face, Willie. Look at you.
Yeah, and I supported any modification crap. Like, that's wrong.
You're not a fan of genetic modification either?
Not at all. No.
Thank you very much, I appreciate that. And Rick was also saying that Willie is 17 years old, and he didn't used to have any weight on him, so you can see he's getting up there, but he looks really spry for a little 17-year-old guy, just taking a little stroll. So
he still has half his teeth.
Just like most humans his age, right?
Yeah.
If they're doing well, they're keeping half their teeth. Anyway,
awesome.
Good to meet you guys. And now here we are on the last stop, the final stop of the March Against Bayer-Monsanto, ground zero, which is the farmer's market. So I thought I would show you guys, I would finish off strong with my community garden beds, which are growing pretty nicely. Now, this hasn't been weeded, so please no judgment, because it's been raining and so I haven't been weeding. But you see some really nice arugula coming up along here. We've got a really nice strong row of snap peas going here. And then we have carrots. They're kind of littler and you can't really see them so well, but there's 2 rows of carrots back there. So overall, got a really great start to this bed. And then over on this bad boy, we have some beautiful strawberries. And they're all flowering beautifully. The last video I did, there were hardly any flowers, and now there's tons of flowers. So, save the bees. That's why we need bees and wasps and other pollinators to get these strawberries underway. And then we have, let me get down a little closer here, because it's just early growth. And like I say, there's tons of weeds in here. Yes, I realize that. Sorry, that's a snap pea plant. Then we have, those are kale plants right there. 2 more snap peas down there. And then we have some lettuce growing. Now, interestingly, this lettuce has not grown as well as the lettuce at my apartment. And but you can see 2 nice rows there. Hey, those will eventually kick into gear. And it's actually nice to have lettuce at different, like at different stages of growth because it doesn't last very long. It's no good by the time it gets to be really hot. So this will give some nice nice action. So there's a shot of my beautiful babies, and yeah, like I said, this has been another successful march against Bayer-Monsanto. I am working that bankrupt Bayer hashtag on Twitter. Please help me with that if you would like. Anything that helps to curtail and or stop and or completely end what these corporations are doing would be wonderful, but absolutely needs much more regulation, needs much more testing for safety. We need a huge amount of work to be done before these corporations could even be allowed to continue, because the crimes against humanity that they've committed are heinous, you know, straight up heinous. I'm one of the victims of their crimes against humanity, but we're all victims of this because glyphosate has now been proven to be a carcinogen. It's a neurotoxin. It's, you know, hormone disruptor. It does all kinds of nasty things. Or Roundup, let's just say Roundup. I'm not sure whether it's glyphosate itself. Glyphosate is the main ingredient of Roundup. And it's being found in women's breast milk. It's being found in all of our urine. We're peeing out Roundup on a daily basis because that's how much Roundup is being used. We're just being dosed and dosed and dosed with it. And the one thing that I mentioned to the man who was arguing that we can't feed the world without, you know, GMOs and chemicals was that what happens is these GMO plants, what happens is that the weeds become resistant to Roundup or to the other herbicides, and so they're putting on 2, 3, 4 doses of these chemical herbicides, and that's what we're eating. We're eating food that has been absolutely dosed, you know, just extreme levels. And so I'm not a person that's necessarily saying get rid of all chemicals. What I'm saying is we can't be using chemicals to this degree, especially when they're known carcinogens, when it's known that they're going to disrupt our hormones, that they're going to disrupt our digestive systems, that they're going to cause autoimmune disorders. And that's what's going on. I mean, people don't understand what the roots of all of these health ailments are, all these food allergies, all of this type of stuff. And we have to start looking at what's in our food. You know, we just absolutely have to do that. And you know, growing food in a community garden is kind of, like I said, ground zero. It's kind of, we need more people growing their own stuff. We need more awareness of what's in food, what goes into food, what's healthy, what isn't healthy, what's safe, what isn't safe. And the current practices are not safe. I mean, that's just the long and the short of it. So what you can do on a basic level is eat organic or up to organic standards. I know that's expensive, so I wouldn't preach that to anyone. But I would say definitely avoid things with known GMOs, which is corn, canola, soy, what else? Beet sugar from the US is GMO most often. Papayas are GMO. They're doing a GMO non-browning green apple. Salmon are being genetically modified to grow 3 times as fast as a natural salmon grows, which is completely disturbing. And if anyone wants to eat those things, you know, I'd be surprised. Anyway, this is Willow signing off once again. Oops, gotta get my button ready. Stop Bayer-Monsanto, people. Hello, kitten. Kitty, how do you feel about Bayer-Monsanto? You don't look that impressed, so I'm going to say that you're a supporter of Stop Bayer-Monsanto. Thanks for your time.